Good day and welcome to the Dev Report. This is the monthly update for the turn-based grand strategy game, Sunset of Lievnos. This is episode 11. We will be talking about the progress in the game for the month of October 2017. My name is Tyson Villeneuve. I'm the programmer for Sunset of Lievnos. And finally, at long last, I am joined with the whole crew. We finally did it. And there's a little bit of a reason for that, and we'll get to that in a moment. But I'm here with Erica. She's the artist for Sunset of Lievnos.
Hello.
Justin, programmer number one.
Yep.
Yeah, that's correct, right? You are programmer one?
I'm number one.
And my brother Kelsey, programmer number two.
Hello.
All right, so I'm excited to have you guys here because I've been lonely for the last, I'd say, 4 months. I think it's been 4 episodes by myself. So this is pretty cool. So let's start off with just a quick update on what we did during October. So I'll go first, and we're actually, because of the timing and all this kind of stuff, it's actually a week before the end of October. So we still have a week to get some of this stuff done. But right now, I'm still working on the content creation tool, and it looks like I'll be doing that for a while because it turns out it's a large component, and interestingly, doing the content part has actually kind of brought up a few problems that we didn't think about in the design of the game. So I think it's better to discover it now, really, than later. So it's going fine. I think the tool is going to be really neat. It's not going to be super pretty, but I was just poking around on UIs for other tools, like what are the games we're looking for? Like what's that? Is it not? It's not Neverwinter Nights. No, it is Neverwinter Nights. The Neverwinter Nights tool and a few other, they're hideous and super not user-friendly. So I think even if we're above that by a little bit, we'll be okay. So it'll look very application-y, but I think it'll be fine for the type of user who's going to actually take a look at it. So I that's pretty much it for me. I worked on it for most of this month, and I got a decent amount into it, but there's a lot left. So the nice thing about it, though, is that once I'm done this, there's going to be a big group of classes that we can just move straight into the game and use as is. And so part of the design for the content creation tool isn't maybe optimal for an application, but it's optimal for being able to move the code over to the game. So that's the route I'm going. And it's going well. So, I mean, really no complaints. It's not hard either. Like, most of the stuff is fairly straightforward. It's all just data manipulation, and there's no simulation or AI. It's just moving stuff around from different data classes. That's it. And just making sure it all connects right. So it's not hard. It's just time intensive. There's just a lot of it. So that's probably what I'm going to be doing. I'm thinking it's going to take me most of November, if I'm even finished by then. But we'll see how it goes. Erica.
What have I been up to?
That indeed is the question.
That's a good question. More than usual, which is good because usually I'm not doing anything. So, I mean, really, it's just I've been trying to finish up stuff that's been on the table for a really long time, and lots of half-finished or almost finished illustrations, which are done now pretty much, and then just continuing forward with the long list of things. I've kind of got backwards in a lot of ways because part of figuring out a lot of what I had to do was going into like our prequel story and going into the lists we've been making on Google Docs, for items and
that's a funny
events
story.
and all of this stuff. So anyway, I've been going back through the story because we needed to know like all the characters that were mentioned in the story.
Okay, so let's preface this first by saying that we've been advertising 80 plus just to be safe.
Yes.
But we've actually calculated over 100 already. Yeah. And so then Erica went back to the prequel story to make sure that we've got all the characters.
Right. And we have all the characters, but I'm only on like chapter 9 of 21.
22?
And there's already 12 extra characters.
Completely unaccounted for in any of our lists.
So they, like, a lot of them we're probably not going to put in the game because they're not that important.
They're all going in.
No.
They have to. Like, that's the whole point, is just touching base on some of these characters and going, neat, they're in the game. It'd be stupid if we didn't. I would rather cut a couple of the characters that we've got on our list that are, who cares? Nobody else knows about them. and include people
Ones
from
that
the
are
story.
in the story. Yeah, I could see that.
It's not like you've drawn them all yet.
No.
So I say we just go, you're not in the game anymore, and put the character from the game.
Well, this is the other thing too, is that we have been talking about characters that we're using that don't have illustrations, or I have made illustrations for characters we're not using. So like it's got very confusing and convoluted, and I just had to go and do a lot of organizing. So that's kind of what I've been doing while I'm at work.
Lucky no one we know
watches
this. Everyone's so indifferent to everything we do outside of work.
But yeah, so there's that. Sort of personally, the month of October is when Instagram and Twitter does all of the Inktobers and Drawloween challenges. So I've been trying to do that, which is doing a drawing every day. And that just takes a lot of time too. So
Stop that.
yeah, well, it's only for October, and there's not many days left. So then I can focus. But it's fun too because the map is done. Like our main map is done. I have.
You should get that to me.
I know.
I don't think you've scanned it.
I know this is the part of the thing. Like at the beginning of the month, we were talking about this, and I was saying, okay, so on the days when I don't have a lot of time, what I'm going to do is I'm going to scan stuff and get them uploaded, right? So we can start actually using them in the game. That part of the plan has not gone well because basically instead of doing that, I'm doing the Drawloween challenge, right?
Right.
So, but that being said, the illustrations are still there. They just need to be scanned.
So that does bring up a little bit of a point of a question is because right now all of our screenshots have been using the demo map.
Yeah.
Do we just keep using the demo map or do we switch over our screenshots to using the finalized map?
Like, do we want to reveal what the map looks like
Yeah.
before we release the game?
Yeah. Or even later. You know what I mean? Maybe we should just not worry about the map right now and just worry about the game because the map is done and we just it's not done. I still have to color it.
Yes.
But that's not a humongous task.
It's
But-
such a large part of the look of the game.
Yeah,
though,
I kind of want to spend some time on it.
So we gotta make sure it's like it's one of the best things in the
Here's
game.
another point to consider is that the demo map is scale-wise a lot larger than the final game.
Yeah.
So there's 5 provinces and they're huge on the screen versus they'll be like that big
Yeah.
on the final game, which might impact like icon sizes and positioning and UI stuff. So maybe we should because it's going to be a representation of the final game. And the last thing we need is to make all these design things, drop in the map in the last like month of development and then go, geez, this isn't going to work.
Yeah.
And then have to go back and change a bunch of stuff.
That's a good point.
Yeah, I think
Maybe we should. Although we could do that internally with the black and white map
Yes.
and then not reveal screenshots. Who cares? Maybe. Does it matter?
Well, I mean, we can go with the black and white one, and then whenever we get around to coloring it, like
Well, you know what?
whatever.
Why don't we because the content creation tool right now, before what we were working with is hard coded data, so everything was in there, and so with the content creation tool, it now allows us to load different sets of data, different game saves, different scenarios. So the demo could just be a different scenario, and it would be easy for us to just choose it on the fly. So our screenshots could just be both from then on. If we've got the demo map up, then so be it. That's the screenshot with the demo map. And if we've got the full map, then whatever.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be lots of other things in the game that are going to be a surprise to people.
Oh, yeah, for
sure. So,
well, and this game is going to be heavy content-wise and less visual-wise. So, like, it's not like, oh, you didn't see that window.
Yeah,
surprise!
Right, yeah,
Who
surprise!
cares?
Yeah, exactly.
Right? The game, the experience of playing is what matters most.
Yeah.
Well, there's going to be a lot of like the story stuff that like it won't come through on the screenshots or
Right.
like we don't have to hide and that's the big stuff. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So maybe we should actually probably from a design consideration, we should probably try and get that map in sooner rather than later.
Yeah, because we tend to run into those problems and then have to
Oh
change
man,
shit
it
all
happens
the time.
all the time. Like, so maybe we should take that proactive, throw it in there and see if there's other challenges. Like even right now, the demo map doesn't scroll side to side. Like,
Yeah.
who knows if there's a challenge on that front that we just never dealt with.
Yeah. True story.
So okay, yeah, let's do that then. Okay, anything else on that?
No, I mean, I've started doing well, I did one event, and that was
Yeah,
because
the flooding
because we needed
shows.
that
Yeah.
for posters and stuff like that. And then because we're going to start doing screenshots, and we need things to put in there that are not just placeholders from Google and whatnot. And yeah, so characters ongoing. Obviously, they will be ongoing for a while because even though I have like 60 characters drawn, I literally have 10 right now that are like main characters that still need to be done. Plus the 12 I've recently just discovered. Plus
whatever else.
Plus whatever else is in there.
And I can promise you, off the top of my head, I can think of at least 2 or 3.
Yeah, and then we're also doing ourselves too, which is a decision we came to this month.
I'm excited about that, and so we're going to use those for our forums and profile pictures on stuff like that, which will be pretty neat. And yeah, that'll be pretty cool. I can't wait to see my rendition of myself. That'll be fun.
Yeah.
I've also chosen the theme of kingly. And you were thinking kind of cloak.
Yeah, I like cloak. I like the shadow and the stealthy kind of thing. That's my vibe. And did you decide?
I don't know if you told me.
I was thinking either like knight or something.
Oh yeah.
I'm kind of into the like melee and armor type of stuff anyway.
I
can see that.
I think I can't remember which list
Or
it was that we had made, but I think there's some list in our Google Docs where I kind of try to thought of titles for us too. Can't remember what they are though now.
I don't remember that.
I'll have to look it up. But we'll talk about that later. But anyways,
What are you gonna go with?
me? I don't even know. I haven't even thought about it. There's too many other decisions I have to make. I'll think about it when I'm like the second before I do it.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. So
Yeah.
how do you feel about getting those done this week?
Yeah. So this
Because
also,
you're- yeah, okay, so
this
we'll-
also
we'll-
happened at like what was it, the end of September, the beginning of October, where you basically scared the shit out of me with like deadlines and things like this.
Oh
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so the story, I think this is what you're talking about,
Yes.
is I had like a little bit of a reality check where I just ran numbers of what we were doing in terms of how many hours we were putting in and all
Yeah.
these kind of things, and I was like, okay. So at this rate, we'll be done in 10 years. and so I went to Erica and I'm like, here's the math. You do 1 per day and it'll take you 300 days in a row. And they each take 4 hours to do. So you have got to quit your job.
Yeah.
I didn't say that, but it was just about that. It was
strongly
just like,
implied.
yeah. It's like, or we're going to not be able
Well,
to
but
finish
you
this.
also said we need to have this all done by like January 1st. You like said something ridiculous
I wanted
like that.
that was no.
Yeah.
Yes. In the back of my head, like a year ago, I was like, I sure would like to be done by the end of 2017, and so it's that obviously is never going to happen. But in my head, I was in a panic mode where it was just like this was in August or no, beginning of September.
Yeah.
late August.
Was it?
Yeah, because it was before the shows. It was before the conventions because I was going in to get you to do some stuff for those shows.
I should look back on my calendar because I actually started keeping track of how many hours
good.
I put on stuff.
Me and Justin have been doing that.
Yeah.
We got this Xi. I think I told you about that.
Yes, you did. Yeah.
And that's working like a damned when it works. So I wish the product was a little bit more mature because I could only use it on my phone before and it wouldn't connect to my computer. Now the opposite. I can connect to my phone, but whatever the change they made destroys my battery in an hour. So I can't use it on my phone anymore, but it does connect to my computer. So I've got that at least.
Yeah, I think they were talking about making that Bluetooth connection stronger, which could be why.
I hope it's not a hardware issue. I hope that whatever they put in there is not just a piece of crap, cheap Bluetooth connector, and that their firmware can change it.
I hope. Well, it seemed to, because this last update seems to have it where it can connect to my computer. Because before, if I put my computer to sleep, it just wouldn't connect, and basically it's unusable.
Yeah. So anyways, it basically looks like an 8-sided dice, and only it's huge. And you flip it on different sides, and whatever side is on, it times you. So we have all our different tasks on different sides of the dice, and then you just flip it over, and then it tracks me what I'm doing. So I have a really good idea of how much time I'm spending on it. So.
Which is useful for you guys because you're doing different things.
Yeah,
I'm
super
doing
good.
like one thing.
Yeah.
So all I need to do is like look at the time and then when I'm done, look at the time and write it down.
But
2.5 hours. So,
But the thing though is that when I time myself, I'm not timing my time at work like I would go to work
Yeah.
and I'm working 7-hour days. It's if I step away from the machine to get a drink of water, to go to the washroom, it's off. So it's timing literal work minutes.
Yeah.
And so that's how I operate. Like what I'm trying to, here's my goal for the day. It's in work minutes, which often take place over a larger chunk of time.
Yeah. And you also work for shorter periods of time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Xi actually has, it tracks how, whether you're doing short sessions, medium sessions, or long sessions. And interestingly, when I first started using it, I was doing a lot of short sessions, like 20 minutes or less. And so when I started seeing that, I'm like, guy, sit down for longer than 20 minutes and do some work. Like, I was not a pattern I even noticed before, right? Because as soon as you flip it over to say, oh, go to the washroom or whatever, then it counts that as a session. So I'm like, God, I gotta work for longer periods of time. So now I'm more into the 40 minutes, and that's a pretty decent chunk of time where you get a lot done. And
That's
you're
a
not
huge
burning out.
improvement.
Oh, it's a huge improvement.
Huge.
Now I moved. My percentage went way up into those they consider medium. So
Yeah.
yeah, and I still don't have a ton of long ones, which are in the upwards of an hour, but I do have a few more of those as well. So, but yeah,
Cool.
it's a really cool tool. I hope they keep improving it.
So,
but-
anyways, it was worth it for us to sort of track that. I mean, I had never really tracked it. I mean, I kind of
Yeah.
had an idea, but I'd never actually written down the amount of time.
It's a huge.
So,
man, it's a
and
huge
it
help
was
for me.
it was good for me, but it was also good for you because then I could say honestly that, you know, if it requires 20 hours a week, then I can do 20 hours a week, right?
Yep.
So yeah.
And that's where my panic kind of came from.
Yeah.
Is that I started timing things, and you look at what you can achieve, and you get better at estimating, and you do all these things. And the other thing is once you put that goal into place, well, this kind of is another part of my motivational thing that we kind of all three of us kind of discovered, but I guess I leaned on it heavily early on. Was I kind of started burning out when I make task lists, where I was like, okay, I need to do this task this weekend, and I wouldn't get it done because I was horrible at estimating how long it'd take. But instead of saying, oh, this just took longer, I would feel bad because now I felt like I was behind, like I didn't get enough done. And so I moved away from a task-oriented system to a time-oriented system for goals. So now if my goal is 5 hours, then my task list turned into a priority list. So it's work on the top priority. And then the others, just when I'm done that one, then the next one's the highest priority. And so priority one task gets done as fast as possible, and the goal is time. And so that works out just brilliantly for me because then I'm not then task one, it doesn't matter how long it takes. That's how long it takes. I can't make it go any faster, but I can free up that time in my schedule to maximize how much time I'm working on the game, and then task it done as fast as possible.
Yeah.
So it works out great for me, and the like I say, estimating on time. I actually started doing this a little bit, and I haven't been doing it in a little while. But I'll take a task on my list, and I'll make a guess. I'll say I think it's going to take me 2 hours to do this, and I write it down in my estimated list. And then after I'm done that task, because I time that specific task, then I go back and put in the actual and see if I'm shorter or not. And that's probably something I should do again because it's a good skill.
I think everybody just has to figure out what works best for them.
Yeah, you're right.
And I think you're right. Motivation and not feeling guilty and not having bad associations with that is really important because
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
what keeps your energy up. So if you're able to do that in whatever function, you know, however you're tracking that, you know, if it makes you feel good about the situation as opposed to make you feel bad about the situation, you're gonna get stuff done.
Yeah, exactly.
So
yeah, and so those things have been worked really well for me. And the other side effect of that is I feel more motivated. Like even with the Xi, it's like I've been trying to get more into the long or the medium sessions and all these things that the tracking kind of makes you a little bit more accountable. And when I write stuff down, I feel like that I want to achieve it. Like it's like I got to get that checklist or I got to achieve that, and I don't want to fail on those. So that formalization also keeps me going. And then as an interesting byproduct of all this is when I started putting in the time, I didn't anticipate this at all, but you start seeing results.
yeah,
And when you start seeing results,
you're more motivated.
yeah,
Yeah.
it feels great.
Yeah.
And you actually get addicted to the results.
Yeah.
And so The only danger that you have is, and this is what I've found, is that there are sometimes when you have responsibilities in life that come up.
Sometimes, all the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
And that week you can't get that high.
Yeah.
And then you feel like crap. And that spirals you where now yeah. So, but.
So, anywho, yeah.
Anyways, okay, so that was a little
Yeah.
tangent, but those are good things,
yeah.
I think, in terms of learning.
Yeah.
We actually have one of the topics I wanted to talk about was kind of our 4-month overview and things that you're doing, and so it's kind of tied to that.
Yeah.
But let's go back to that in a minute once we talk about briefly what you guys have done this month.
So this month has been a bit of a gong show for me. I guess I'll start with what I've kind of done on the game. I started with the search, which I've been working on last month a bit near the end, and then I did it wrong, and then I redid it.
Right.
And I did it wrong again. And so now I've redone it a third time, but I think it's done right. And so at least like the search is actual functional, so you can click on a guy, assign him to search, and then it generates it, and then it'll show up one of the images that she's drawn is actually in the game. I think we have two, the sword and the mace.
Items, yeah.
Yeah. And so those show up in our summary screen.
But it's actually, like, search is actually now a functioning part of the game.
Yeah, it is functioning.
Which is really cool because, like, we've been working on so much system stuff for so long. It's awesome to see gameplay go into the game now.
Yeah, so the other part of the search that I have left to do is just to be able to hide the HUD, or I guess not the HUD,
the window.
The window.
Yeah.
Yep. And then click on the map or the province that you want to search into. And so that's what I'll be working on next. And that kind of ties into what I'll be doing next as well. I guess a few of the other GUIs, which I think they're spy, would be the same type of thing.
Yeah.
So the next few that I'm doing will be quite a bit faster. And I guess the reason why I haven't had a whole lot to do or time in the last 3 weeks, is that I actually got a new job in Calgary. So I was busy packing all my stuff up and moving to Calgary, which is probably about 6 hours away from where I was before.
But it's way closer to us now.
Yep, I'm only about just over an hour away.
As opposed to 4.5 before.
And it's all about us.
And that's the most important thing. No, it is good, but I'd say the big benefit of this is that it's a full, like, before you were doing IT and a lot of support, you're moving now into a fully programming developer role.
Yeah, so that'll be good. And there's a lot of other developers there, so I'm hoping my programming skills should go up quite a bit better. And this new company is very, very good at project management, so I'll be able to apply some of those skills to our game as well.
I'm looking forward to that quite a bit. I think you're gonna pick up a lot of skills there that are gonna help us a lot. So that's gonna be good.
Yep. So I'm looking forward to that. So that's kind of my update over the last month. So hopefully to pick up a bit more once I get into a new routine here. I've just finished my first week at this new job, so start getting better from here. So.
Yeah, and then the other nice byproduct is because you'll be closer, we should be able to get you here for podcasts a little bit more often.
Yep. Yeah, rather than once every 5 months.
Yeah. Kel.
I can't really. I guess I can't remember when I finished records, but
I think that was a while back.
It could be. And I did hook up a few of the ones that were finished already. The UIs.
Right. So at some point, Justin had built several UIs. And they were just sitting up by themselves, and you hooked them all up into the game.
Yeah, so they actually come up now. But the big thing is we call it the unit details control or something.
This one's a hard one to describe, and I think we might just have to wait for a screenshot. But basically, I think we have released screenshots that have the summary window of the character stats. Now, inside that window, the grid of stats, we want to be able to show what items those people have and what special units are assigned to them. And so it's like a sub-control within that grid. So it was kind of a nasty, stupid control to build, and I knew it was going to be.
Yeah,
so
it was a bit of a grind, and it turned out good because it took me quite a while, but like I learned a lot. Like I was able to kind of plow through it and figure it all out myself. And so I kind of learn the best that way when I'm able to just, plow through it, I guess, and do the research and things like that, and
Yeah.
better than just being told everything how to do it and whatever. Right? Because I just remember it a lot better. So, I mean, it's nice if you have a. I guess I never really came across anything that's.
You're having pencil
Pencil's
difficulties.
just falling. I just want to make
Oh.
I just want to mark a check here that we talked about that, and I can't get it to work. But okay, there we go.
Yeah. Anyway, so I'm pretty much done that at this point. It's just a little bit of like formatting and things like that basically need to be done, and then I'll be done that. So
Okay, let's. Boy, we're this is already getting quite long.
yeah, I figured.
What else do we have on the list?
We've only done one of the 4 things.
Oh, really?
But the we kind of already talked about the what's next. No, we haven't at all.
Well, okay, let's do
a quick one of those.
Quick, what's
and then the
next?
one thing I did want to talk about slightly was the
Because-
4-month overview of, because I haven't talked to them in 4 months
Yeah.
on the podcast. So I just wanted to get an idea of like what things, because like I said just a few minutes ago, like what things are working for you and what things would you like to improve on to make sure, like really I don't want to say I'm frustrated, but I want this game done. Like we got to get her done. And so part of it is like, how do we improve the efficiencies and stuff like that to get the time in to get her done. And so I kind of want to get your impression on where you are in your life and all that. Cause Justin's making some big changes. I know Kelsey had a lot of stupid, like house related and yard related garbage come up in the summer, and so like it's like, how do we do those?
But let's just do
Let's do real quick what's next. So I already talked about my what's next. It's going to be pretty much content creation tool for the next month, pretty much.
Okay.
Well, I'm just like I'm gonna be moving into UIs and stuff, so there's like study and
interestingly, we originally, I think I've mentioned this in the last month, but we're going from you guys building entirely UIs to then building making them work, and it seems to work better to just build the UI, then make it work. Build the next UI and make it work. So
there's I don't know, I think I got like study and recruit and things
so
like
we're
that.
working on all the things that you can assign an officer to do right now. We're not touching any military stuff or politics stuff. It's all assignment things.
So it's all UI stuff.
So you're doing the study thing, so that's going to be able to assign officers to study either economy or agriculture or military things to increase their stat in those
or they're more soldiers and things like that.
In those abilities in order to make them better at doing those things.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of working on, well, I guess UIs as well. The ones I'll be doing are fairly related with the clicking on the maps. So like the search. So there'll be the spy, transport, send message, and
send
trade.
Message,
So those will be the next 4 I'll be working on.
And you're doing study.
There was 4: study, recruit,
give to the public.
Yeah. Oh, then there was 5 then maybe. And then
I'm not sure. Regardless.
There was 4 or 5 there
Yeah.
that I was doing, but
Okay, Erica?
I'm just doing what I always do.
Yeah. I guess we can kind of give
Making lists and
I guess one thing that we
doing
can
stuff.
do is come up with some things that we'd like to see.
I think that one thing I'm going to try to get done in the next month is the images for our 4 main icons in the HUD.
That would be massive.
So I definitely want to. The HUD is kind of an issue for me right now because the design we have right now is good, but it's not perfect, I don't think. And so I really would like to do a couple of more designs for it, just to pick. One of the things that you...
Okay, our camera stopped working there, so I think we're just talking about what you're doing next.
Yes, which is the same thing I do every month.
Okay.
Which is because my list really hasn't changed that much.
Right.
But the one thing that I'm going to try to get done this month is the illustration for the 4 main icons in our HUD.
Right.
And our intention for that is for me to do it as one image that will span and include all of the things that we need to represent for those 4
I think it's a neat idea.
icons. But the other thing the HUD I was talking about was that the HUD is kind of an issue for me because the HUD that I had designed originally is good, but it might not be perfect.
Yeah.
And there's a couple of other ideas that I'd like to try for that. So I might tackle that as well. We'll see. I mean, I'm still going through our story and working on characters.
Yeah.
I'm really trying to focus on our character development right now because us getting all of our characters figured out is better for me because then I know how to illustrate them, right?
Right.
So because right now I'm making up characters in my head and illustrating them a certain way, but that might not actually pertain to anything we have in the game.
Right.
So so we're gonna be talking more about that.
Yeah. And I think it would be cool if you could do our portraits.
Yes.
Because that plays into some the other thing I want to talk about. We'll get to that in a second.
Which means you guys need to get me some photos.
Yeah, we'll do that soon.
Yes.
So, I'd say, and the other thing on the HUD topic is I almost feel like if because we've got something that's functional, if we wait a little bit, the theme and the moods and the style might come out of what we're doing a little bit more, and then the HUD will organically evolve almost.
But for me, it doesn't hurt to try things.
Right, yeah.
Because once I've done an illustration a certain way, for me to do it again and make slight tweaks does not take nearly as long as if I was to do it from scratch. So, so if I come up with an idea that fits really well, and it just requires a couple of...
Memory card filled up there, so we had a little cut, but let's jump back into this.
All right. So this is about me, right? What I'm doing next?
Yeah.
I've only said this like 3 times. So, yes, I am doing drawings and writing story and organizing Google Drives, which is the same thing that I do every month.
Yeah.
There's a couple of particular illustrations I'm going to try to get done in the next month or so, which is the main illustration for our HUD, for our 4 main icons, our portraits.
We got that part where we were talking about the HUD, but okay.
Yeah, and that's about it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds good. Now, we're already at a ridiculous time here, so I'm thinking we're going to skip our 4-month overview and lessons and just let's talk about that next time. And then we'll have another month where we can kind of figure out some stuff.
Yeah, I should be able to come down next month anyways.
Okay,
because
sweet.
I'm nice and close now.
Right on. Okay, so let's move that to next one. And the last thing I wanted to talk about was kind of our announcement of sort, and that is that, well, it's not really a full announcement because I've been talking about this for like 2 months, but we actually decided that we are going to launch our weekly update on Game Jolt. So starting the day this is released, so it'll be the first Monday of November. I don't know what day that is.
Yeah, I don't.
But
I don't
I
know.
will put a link in the description to
I think it's
that.
the 7th, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'll put a link to the Game Jolt, to that our dev blog there in the description for this video, and everywhere else, I guess, as well. So the idea we want to do behind that is it's not going to be this kind of discussional thing like this podcast. It's going to be a point form. Here's the stuff that we did, and potentially we might include some things like here's what's next. Here's what we're working on for this next week. And so it'll be maybe a little bit on the technical side. We're going to be a little bit, what's the word I'm looking for? Not stick to the formula really hard. I think the only thing that I really want to see is those weekly points. And if we want to add more, then we're just going to add more. And if we don't have time, then we're not.
Yeah, we'll be a little adaptable to it.
So, and then I want to put our screenshots up there as well. So every time we come up with something that we think is goodish or done, I'm going to try and include a screenshot every week as well. That could be hard, but it might not ever happen every time. But we've got probably 4 or 5 right now that we could show. So we'll just put them out one every week. So that's the point. That's the plan there. I'm quite excited about that. It'll, because we internally, we already do it. We already have our checklists of stuff that we do. We're just going to clean it up a little bit so that it's not as technical and not as specific, and it'll be a little bit broader. But our goal there is just to, because Game Jolt community is quite large, and so I want to kind of get involved with that community a little bit more, especially because it's so indie focused. So yeah, we're gonna try and attempt that. I think Kelsey's going to be the one to do most of the updating, but we've already got a pipeline in place for how we get him that information. So I think it'll go pretty good. And that could actually include some things that you're working on too.
Yeah, and like I usually post to Twitter when I'm working on illustrations. So
this is just a different avenue for people who don't use those things, because this I know we're getting pretty late, but this is an interesting story. Was we've been to several events conventions, and when we met Greg Miller that one time, we were talking to a bunch of gamers. There's so many people, surprisingly lots of people who are not on Twitter, not on Instagram, and we were like, how do we get to these people? Like, they're out there and they're hardcore gamers, but they're not interested in that social media or anything. It's how do you get to them? And so I'm hoping Game Jolt is going to be another avenue that we can get to people who might not necessarily see us every day on Twitter and Instagram.
Good point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, because I know there are a lot of like hardcore gamers. You'd have to be pretty much a hardcore gamer to go to Game Jolt, but it also has, there's millions of people that go there. So I'm hoping to catch some more people there than we see on the other things. So we'll fill you in on that, on our plans for that. So you can just post to the place that we're storing this information with just your weekly did this one thing or whatever, and then we'll just throw it up there as when we do our post.
Sweet.
Yeah. So take a look for that, and once that's up there, if you could share it and comment, and that's where you can ask us questions, that'll be really cool. So anything else?
That's it.
I think we're good for this month. So thanks for joining us, and we will see you next month. Bye now.